مرحبا فيكم في مقطع جديد في نزس شانل. هذه مجموعة مقابلات من أشخاص قتلة سيكوباتين وغير سيكوباتيين. اعتمدت في اختياري في الأغلبية على الحديث ولغة الجسد ومدى شهرة المقطع. يعني إذا مشهور مرة على الأغلب ما راح أعرضه، وأرجوكم ما تغادروا المقطع بدون لايك. سوزان أتكنز. هذه المقابلة عام 1976 حيث أدينت بقتل 8 أشخاص وماتت بعمر 61 عام 2009 في السجن.
The people in the house were all brought into the living room and tied up, and I remember that Wojciech Wachowski, I believe is his name, I had tied his hands with a towel and then was instructed to kill him. And I raised the knife that I had in my hand and I couldn't put the knife down. I couldn't bring it down. It was just as though there was a force there that held my wrist and I couldn't move. And as he saw that I couldn't move, then he very easily undid the ties, the towel that I had tied his wrist with, and he and I began to fight. And I remember I was screaming for help and he was screaming for help, and then Tex came and helped me, and I was left to sit and watch Sharon Tate. And about that time, all I can remember seeing is people just scattering in different places and running in different places, and I was left sitting with Sharon Tate, and she was talking to me, and I remember that I had absolutely, I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing for her as she begged for her life and for the life of her baby. And Jesus. I remember when we first went in, one of the people said, "Who are you?" And Tex said, "I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's business." And I remember that in my conscience, it's so alive in me, even just recalling it. I remember that I had gone so far and there was no turning back. That even if I had wanted to run, even if I had wanted to leave, I couldn't. It was like I was caught in something that I had no control over. I had absolutely no say-so as to what was happening there. I was just like a tool in the hands of the devil, is the only way I can put it. And I believe that it was by the grace of God that my hand did not go down with that knife on Wojciech Wachowski's chest. I believe that...
Well, who did kill those people?
That night?
Yeah.
Tex.
روبرت هو سيكوباتي ويتحدث عن ضحاياه وطرقه في التلاعب بكل فخر.
And how did you get control of them? Was it through force and control and violence?
It was manipulate. No, it wasn't violence. It was more like manipulation. It was coercion. It was like, I'll buy you this, I'll give you that, you know, and treating them like a person, but they were just objects.
In this section, you will see the lack of attachment to anyone that suggests Robert is not only a power and control sex offender, he's quite psychopathic as well.
The best way to fool people is to help them, is to ask what they want, ask what they need. Do they need any help doing anything? Do they need any money, or do they need their car fixed? Do they need the grass cut? Do they need their children looked out for? Do they need a job? Do they need anything to get them to think that I am a decent person and want to help? Trust me, I will help. And overall, that was a flat-out lie.
Why do you think makes people so trusting?
What do you mean, as far as trusting?
Trusting you.
Trusting me? Because to trust me, I thought that I could be trusted to a certain extent. But behind their back, no. I would take things from them, steal from them, scope out things that I could steal, just see what I could get out of somebody, just get what I wanted. That's what I wanted. I see something I want, to get somebody to trust me. Like, say if I was to go over and cut this person's grass, fix his car, loan him some money, and then and if I see something I want, like he's got a nice stereo, then, and I would set it up, I would say, hey, well, he's not home at such and such a time, that'd be the perfect time to go get me a stereo. So I would say, hey, he's gone, I know exactly how to get in through the back way, I'll even go into his house and open a window so I can come in here tomorrow and steal his stereo. I was looking out for number one, for me. I didn't have any empathy for anybody else because it seemed to me nobody had any empathy for me. I wasn't going to give anybody any empathy who didn't give it to me. And that was it. That was bottom line. You don't, I didn't have people cry for me or tell me, ask me if I needed anything. Then, you know, I wouldn't use any empathy. I would fake it. Now, fake empathy, like saying, I know how you feel. I've been in that situation before. I've done that, and it didn't turn out all that hot. And I would fake it, but there wasn't no empathy there. That was just a show. That was just a tell. That was just to get the person to say, well, hey, you know, it seemed like he's pretty good fellow. And, you know, that was manipulation all the way.
تومي سيلز سيكوباتي آخر قتل الكثير من الناس على مدار 15 عاماً، واللي عرف الشرطة عليه هي بنت كان هو متيقن من قتلها وتركها وهي كانت الضحية الأخيرة له.
A remote highway in Texas, headed for death row, where I sat down with a 45-year-old man who could arguably have one of the baddest brains in America.
The first time I did a shot of dope, it was the best feeling I ever had in my life. And the first time I killed somebody, it was such a rush. And it was just like that shot of dope. Every time I did it, it was that rush again. And I started chasing that high. I like to watch the eyes fade, the pupil fade.
What do you like about that?
It's just like setting their soul free.
To his homicidal spree. Do you remember the little girl who survived?
Yes. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her.
What did you do to her, sir?
Her neck was cut
How did you do that?
with a knife.
Do you have anything to say to her, the little girl who survived?
I guess you'll relay this message too.
It's very difficult to control a psychopath. They're the person in control. And in fact, in an interview, psychopaths tend to take control of the interviewing.
What's your name?
Martin.
Martin?
Yes. Can I call you Tommy?
Oh, without a doubt. I don't think she really wants to hear what I got to say.
But what if I called you something that you didn't like? And you'd think about killing me?
Well, if we was in a fight and, you know, get your head down in the concrete, then, you know, so be it. But
What happens when my head goes down to the concrete?
Well, what do you think happens? It cracks like a coconut.
And then what happens?
You die.
When someone abandons himself to being a victim, he's going to have to be one.
وأخيرا إد كيمبر. طبعا هذا الشخص هو قاتل متسلسل عن حق وحقيق، قتل عائلته كلهم ما عدا أخواته وأبوه حتى جدانه، وهو مسجون في مصحة من يوم كان عمره 15 سنة. طبعا الشيء اللي فجعني تعبيرات وجهه بعد ما غير النظارة الطبية.
Elaborate precautions. He drove around universities and picked up hitchhiking co-eds while wearing these glasses.
Yeah. These are the ones. Now, would you get in the car with this man? Huh? The state has made me much more credible as a human being. As I'm sitting there with a severed head in my hand, talking to it, or looking at it, and I'm about to go crazy, literally. I'm about to go completely flywheel loose and just fall apart. I say, wow, this is insane.